you try to get crazy with this scene? Don't you know I'm loco?
I think because of the jail hustle that I see it right away.
Right.
And it's you
Right.
keep game and you capitalize on the opportunity, whether it's for you or not. At least you shot your shot. You know, and so a lot of people, I think they don't shoot their shot. They just miss the mark altogether because of confidence. And that's what I try to instill in people is like, yo, man, you could do so much more if you came in that door a whole nother way. Step in with your right foot and own the place.
What's happening, everybody? This is Bobby Ruiz, aka Bobby Tribal. Once again, it's time for that lower left podcast. Today, what was that? Today I got my man in here, like helping out. Johnny Be Good had lots of work today. Thanks for he helped get everything ready.
What's up, Johnny? Shout out to Johnny.
Yeah, shout out to Johnny Be Good. But today we got our man DJ Artistic.
Yeah, I'm in La Casa. I'm in the building.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
He's a man in the building, producer, DJ. He does all kinds of stuff.
Try to contribute. Make
That's
my
right.
contributions.
Yeah.
It's an honor.
Yep. And we have very special guests. They're just they're just waiting for me to say, what's he gonna say? What's he gonna say? Now this is family right here. These guys have been in the building for several years now. They hold it down in the corner of the building. They got their spot. Real good dudes, badass tattooers. And if you've been to the building, you know them for doing they have their tattoo shop here known as the Goodlife Tattoo.
Good life.
They specialize in black and gray work, but primarily Polynesian style tattoos. And we'll get into explaining what that is, because hopefully I didn't mess that one up. But real good dudes. We got the boss man, Kuya.
Yes, sir.
And Brandon. He's there. Yep. What up? So what's up with you guys?
We big chillin', no choice. You know, enjoying San Diego, you know, America's finest city. For all them people out there hating on us because we paying so much, we paying for this. We paying for the weather. We paying for the surf. We paying for the mountain. We paying for all of that.
Permits. We pay for all kinds of silly stuff. We find ourselves in all kinds of situations. But Kuya's got both of them. I mean, I don't know Brandon's story as much, but Kuya's got a really, really interesting story. Kuya is a real good dude. And if you meet Kuya and you don't know Kuya's history, you won't believe it. Like, cause he's Kuya to everybody in the building, but Kuya been through some, you know what I mean?
Yeah, we're going to touch on all that.
Kuya did some cool stuff to put himself in that boss position he's in right now. But, what's happening?
Man, just living the good life, brother.
Yeah. What about you, B? You go surfing today?
Today, no, I actually went out and I drove all the way over there and it was all messy. So I packed up my stuff and left. But it's been pretty bad lately. It's all messy and frothy. Yeah.
Hang 10.
Brandon, he surfs more than anybody in the building, I think. Right? He's always out there.
Nice.
So what's good, Kuya? So, man, I don't even know where to start with you. So, where was your family originally from? Where were you born? Where were you brought up until?
I was born in Travis Air Base in Northern California. You know, and I was a Navy brat, so we moved around a lot. You know, spent a stint in Virginia, Philippines, where my brother was born. Spent most of our time in San Diego. So, you know, if people ask where I'm from, I say San Diego.
That's right.
But a lot of that time from running around for the law, I ended up in doing a lot of life over there in LA.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so a lot of my life had to do with gang activity, drug use, and things of that nature, and everything that came with it.
Mm-hmm. So, Art had asked you how old were you? So you started getting tattooed when you were how old?
I got my first tattoo when I was 12. You know, when you tie up the needles with a thread, with the India ink. Yep.
That's right.
He was one of those.
That's right.
Hey, let's see if this works.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, it sure does.
Who did the tattoo? You did it yourself?
I did it myself. You know what I mean? Trying to be cool back then.
And how long did you have it before your parents or your guardian seen it? How long was you? Or was
They
it?
never seen it until like I think it was one day we were going to church and wash your hands, clean your hands. You know what I mean? And she saw it. She goes, "What is that?" I'm like, oh shoot.
And did she know what it represented?
No, she didn't. It was just those 3 triangular dots. You know what I mean? My crazy life.
La vida loca.
Yeah. On your way to church, lying to moms.
Yeah. So what were you doing back then? Like is that when it all started? You know what? That's that's like the 6th grade.
Yeah.
That's when I think my shit started changing and evolving and getting involved in stuff that I probably shouldn't have been getting involved with. Is you were probably in that same sort of boat. Like, right. 12, 13.
Yeah, we're trying to be cool like you, bro. You know what I mean?
Stop it. But that was kind of that age right there, right?
Yep.
And what happened? Like,
shoot, that just was the entry of the gateway to the lifestyle, you know, the gangbang lifestyle that I ended up living for a majority of my life.
That was here in San Diego.
Yeah.
And then so you were having some issues, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then what happened?
Oh, you know, back then, big thing wasn't about really fighting, it was a transition between fighting and shooting. So, you know, they had that time where there was all kinds of drive-by shootings to the point where there was a green light on anybody who did a drive-by shooting. You know what I mean? So they could kind of slow that down. Because a lot of collateral damage, people was getting shot that didn't deserve to get shot.
And that's the time before that rule or during that rule? Because wasn't there a rule that women and children are safe?
Shoot,
wasn't that something like an unwritten rule? Wasn't that supposed to be?
Of course, those were unwritten rules, but people was just because people didn't know how to shoot back then. Now, like nowadays, you see everybody on Instagram. Everybody got a gun, but ain't nobody gonna shoot
on Instagram. Right?
Hey,
they got the laser pointers.
Yeah, just like you see those memes that says "I was raised by OGs, not IG."
Yeah.
And a lot of people like to flaunt what they have, but the real people who's gonna do what they're gonna do, they not gonna show what they're gonna show, and they're not gonna make announcements. They just make moves.
So, how much longer after 12 and getting your first tattoo did you get your hands on a gun?
It was kind of automatic, you know what I mean? Because I didn't grow up gangbanging in San Diego. I grew up gangbanging in L.A., right in front of the Scientology building, and back then we were beating up Scientologists as like it was like that was
the one off of Gower,
the main one over there off of
Gower.
Sons. Yeah.
So y'all was whooping on L. Ron Hubbard.
Oh, dog. They when Dianetics came out, that's when they were introducing us to the little barbecues that they had, and they had their little they look like missionaries, you know what I mean, wearing black pants and white shirt. They would walk up and down and, hey, come check us out this Saturday, hot dogs and ice cream. Like, okay, we go over there, we go mob over there, you know, the neighborhood kids. Back then there was not even rap music, you know what I mean? They had Sugar Hill Gang and Peaches and Herb and stuff.
Yeah.
But we was listening to Def Leppard, AC/DC, Van Halen, all that stuff. Yeah. We walked around with spikes on our hands, with drumsticks in our back pockets. You know, it was crazy.
Mm-hmm. So that was, and then what brought you to San Diego?
My dad was in the military, so we moved around a lot, and I think that's kind of what contributed to us joining gangs or becoming a gang, because we had to always look for friends. So the ones that gravitated towards us, that's who we would befriend. And like being my brothers and my sister, we always had the same set of friends, you know, and we become so close that they become adopted. Like B, you know, he's my brother's best friend, but he ended up being my closest brother, you know.
That's dope. So B, you came around from his brother and then became friends with them?
Yeah. So I was Mikey's homie. Mikey had scooped me up, and he introduced me to the family, and then that's when I found out, like, oh, they got another brother that's locked up at Donovan.
Yeah.
Let's go visit this guy.
You get introduced to the family. It's kind of like getting introduced to the gang.
Yeah.
Because all my family was gang related or gang associated.
Pretty much it. Yeah.
Kuya, can you define that? Like, where does that come from? Why do they call you Kuya? What does the Kuya mean?
Oh, that's the Filipino term for big brother. And I was everybody's big brother.
So they just, since you were a kid, they started calling you that?
Yeah.
Mostly family called you that?
Mostly family.
And then on the street, what'd they call you?
They called me Demonio on the street. Because I was a demon. I terrorized.
Yeah.
That was my thing.
Mhm.
So where did, so I know there's been some consequences of your demonic actions. Your demonic behavior.
Sure was.
So first you went to, where'd they send you first?
I got sent to the Philippines for getting my house shot at. And usually we were the one doing the shooting, but someone grew a pair and decided to hit the house. And so I finally got sent away. After doing 2 years in the Philippines, you know.
Where in the Philippines? Shout out to our people in the Philippines.
Yeah.
Right?
Manila.
Mabuhay is out there, that's right.
We was out there in Manila, man, making.
Where in Manila?
In Makati.
Makati, that's right.
So
I love Makati.
Yeah, I love it. That's where we have Dutown, bro.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
Makati
saying?
has different places. Like some of the baddest, most beautiful neighborhoods in Manila are in Makati.
Yeah.
The forts in Makati. And then they have like the Shangri-La, the older part of Makati, the malls right there.
Bro, see,
And
I'm
then
telling
you go over a couple streets, and it's the grimy Makati.
Yeah.
Where's the Thriller at? I heard there's
The
like a
Thriller
in
from
Manila. Where's
Manila.
the Thriller?
That's Bobby Tribal, dog.
Not me, dog.
He is a thriller.
Nah, that's when the crew goes. Goes. But so, what was that like being 15, living in? So you were an American kid,
Yeah, it was.
brought up 100% in the States, in LA, and San Diego.
Oh man,
And then they just drop you in Manila.
that's like
In
kind of like
Makati. What was that like?
that was like instant stardom back then. You know what I mean? Like, oh, that's the American boy. You know, my
Could
family,
you speak Tagalog?
Yeah. Well, back then I couldn't, and that's one of the things that we kind of, the distinction between Filipinos back then when we were growing up was those were the fobs, and then you had the English speaking ones.
Explain.
boys.
I know what fob is, but explain what a fob is.
I don't even know why they call it fresh off the boat.
That's right.
When we came fresh off the plane, kind of thing. You know what I mean?
So it should be called FOP.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
But
There you go, B.
yeah,
Yeah.
That's our boy Brandon right there.
No, actually, it's pop. Because the F is.
yeah.
Yeah.
Hey,
That's right.
Sorry.
hey, I want to challenge Bobby to speak in his Tagalog
Nah,
accent. Yeah, the
dude.
whole dang time.
For anyone listening here, Bobby's the honorary Pinoy.
He is honorary Filipino.
His accent's better than most
Hey,
comedians
homie.
that I
But
know.
I tell you, man, you know how many times, because I'm not Filipino, just to clear that up,
Right.
but I got a lot of love for Filipinos because I was brought up around a bunch of Filipinos. I spent a lot of time in the Philippines. We do good business in the Philippines. I got people that I consider family in the Philippines. And we're, tribal's real strong in the Philippines, but like you dudes, it's like I grew up since junior high eating pancit and lumpia and, people speaking Tagalog and going into my Filipino homies' pad and seeing the little fish on the table, little dried fish on like all.
The balut.
Yeah, the balut. I haven't tried that, homie.
I
Like,
bet
should
you
have
me
a-
either.
We should have a segment.
Big Tiny loves it though.
I bet
pork
you you're
spread.
always like, should I take off my shoes? Okay.
Nah, but it was different. But anyway, so you were from here and dropped in
Yeah.
Makati in the middle of Manila.
I got dropped like it was hot. They said, I don't even know how I fell for it. I think because I was.
So you went out there with your gangbang style and your
I sure did.
wearing like khakis and white t-shirts
Yep.
and chucks and
Pompadour.
being that Filipino gangster that you were at 15.
Right.
And then how did the people react? Did you like,
Oh, so
was you cool or you wasn't cool?
they told me you don't be bringing your trouble here, because if you look, you will find it.
Yeah.
And I found it real quick. Over there, a lot of the deportee Filipino gangbanging, you know, they were out there
From here?
From here. And there was just, it didn't change me going over there. You know, it kind of made it worse because now my uncles were my drinking partners. You know, I would drink from 7 o'clock when my compadre got off of work to 7 o'clock in the morning, time to go to school. It was really bad because if you can buy it, you can try it, you know? And what I did find was a greater respect for my people, you know, because when we were here growing up, we looked down on those who spoke Tagalog, who didn't know how to communicate until you are put in that situation, you know, and now they're talking about you. You're the stranger. You're the one who thinks you're better than everybody. So you really had to humble yourself and just go with the flow. You know, yeah, they did look at you a little different, like, oh, he has more than we have. Right. And so you think that's a good thing. No, you become a target. You ever see those guys in the Philippines that, you know how they have the fanny packs?
Yeah.
And they wear it in the front? That's because you wear it in the back, it's getting cut off. It's dirty. You know, when they think you have something and they can take it from you.
So you get there, you're badass, you're doing your thing, you run into some other gangs. Did they recruit you? Did they humble you? Like, how was that transition?
Oh, no, I recruited them. So
he wasn't even from there. He's already, you know what, I'm
those
going
are
to
real
go ahead
leadership skills.
and start my own gang.
Right?
Yeah.
You just kind of, what made you use them for that? What was it that made you go that direction versus something else?
I don't know, man. It's just something.
Something at home? You said
He just- you know what it is?
Nothing's off the table.
He loved the lifestyle already.
It's
like
I was always intrigued by that that lifestyle, man. You know, I ain't gonna lie. You know, terrifying people, leaving your mark, and stuff like that that's what my thing was, and that's what elevated me to doing tattoos instead of writing on walls and doing stuff like that. Is I started writing on people because it didn't start off doing Polynesian tattoos. I was putting the gang on other people so that you could represent where you're from. So Old English, script writing.
So you were tattooing out in Manila when you were 15?
No. That was over here.
When you got back.
That was over here.
So you spent 2 years out there.
Yeah.
And then you came back and you just were you're not over it. You came back and the shit got worse.
Yeah, it got worse. You know, it's just kind of like a break from people
But they came back and they dropped you right back in your neighborhood.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, everybody was happy to see you.
Oh, yeah. It was back to business.
Yeah.
It was back to business. And then, you know, it got so bad that my own homies tried to get me, you know.
Mm-hmm.
They tried to set my house on fire, you know. We had shootouts on the freeway with my own homies, you know. It's all's forgiven now. Cause, you know, it's like, you tried to kill me. He goes, that was almost, you know, almost doesn't count. You know, and ultimately I ended up in jail, where I was able to kick my addiction, my alcoholism and all that stuff.
How old were you the first time you went in?
21. So I was locked up from 21 to 32 years old. So after that, I was able to kick all that, all those, what do they call those, man? Habits. Yeah.
Vices?
Yeah.
So what types of drugs did you used to like to do?
Crystal, crack, weed. If you could smoke it, I was smoking it. You know?
And then you went in.
Then I went in.
So let me back up just a little bit. Were you tattooing before you went in?
I was tattooing before I went in.
So you started tattooing at what age?
Shoot. I think probably like 15, doing it on the homies, you know, putting the gang tattoo on the homies.
So right when you got back from the Philippines. No, you went to the Philippines at 15.
Yeah.
So maybe
So around 16, 17, I started tattooing the homies.
And was it just your gang, or were you doing pieces and Polynesian experiment? It was just
the gang.
And then
And 3 dots.
You gotta have the 3 dots.
Yeah.
So did you get your skill set and your style from being incarcerated?
I used to do collage work, the typical prison artwork. I got out. I saw the Polynesian work inside, and I'm like, man, that's
Who had it?
The Usos did.
The Samoans, right?
The Samoans had it. And then as I was getting out, that's when they had a revival for Filipino tattoos. And we jumped that wave and we're riding it, up until now. And people think you can't survive off Polynesian tattoos.
Can you define that? Because I try to, and I have a lot of respect for it. That's why I'm not going to be here and speak on it and tell you I'm an expert. But I have been to New Zealand and I've seen the Maoris and I've seen their work, and I've been to Hawaii and seen the local Hawaiian stuff. And obviously I've been to the Philippines and I've seen some really, really, remember that old lady at Tututan? What's her name?
Wang Od.
And she'll come down from the mountains and she'll tattoo people. I've seen it in Thailand.
We were there when
Thailand's different.
They poke you.
Yeah, yes. Thailand's different. But no, the old lady pokes too.
Yeah, she's.
But then,
stick and poke.
and then, so I know that there's a lot of do's and don'ts. There's guidelines. There's tradition. There's a lot of symbolism, storytelling. Is that across the board? Or I know from what I understand, Samoans, you have to earn the right to be tattooed a certain way, right?
Yeah.
Is that?
It's pretty much, a lot of it is across the board because what it is it's indigenous tattoos.
Right.
It's tribal.
Right.
The essence of being in a tribe, your status, your rank, the things you've earned through the certain motifs. It all tells the story of who you are and what you've accomplished.
Right. Is it still that way?
So
when somebody comes in and let's say they want a piece done, do you ask them a little bit about themselves?
That's why
before you design the piece.
Yeah, a lot of that. Yeah. Otherwise, you just be doing something off the wall.
Right.
Everything is tailor made
according to
their story.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
So certain symbols mean certain things. Like what? Like
triangles are could be shark teeth, represents protection, or stuff like that. But there's variants of different patterns. So you have one pattern but a variant of it, but it means the same thing.
How did you learn this?
Oh, just like this. See, that's the thing about this type of tattooing. It's an oral thing where you talk story. That's when Hawaiians say talk story. We talk story about this and that. Mm-hmm. It's not something that you go look on Instagram and you copy somebody's stuff. Did you get permission to do that? Do you know that belongs to this person or whatever? And then you'll find out that a lot of the patterns made by certain people are shared. So it's like, where did you get that? I'd never seen that before. I seen Whatchamacallit do it. He goes, yeah, man, I spent some time with him,
Right.
He said I could use it, so cool.
So you have to have permission to use somebody's patterns.
Because
but then I would imagine there's traditional patterns too.
Yeah, there's traditional
that come
patterns.
from way back, right?
I think touching on this, I think what you see now is a modern contemporary art with the traditional patterns attached to it.
I could see that.
So we can't really say that's traditional, but you could say that it's a flow. But if you want to get traditional, then you need to get hand poked or, with the actual hand tapping tools. And usually if you do your research, you can see that the patterns are horizontal or vertical. There's no what I'm saying?
That's what I was going to say, because I've seen stuff now, pieces that are they have a lot of curves in them. And
a lot of flow.
Yeah.
So let me ask you guys this, for a guy who has no tattoos.
Yeah.
Let's say somebody comes in, wants a tattoo, and they're like, I want it to kind of represent this or that. But maybe they don't have any lineage or real culture. Would you guys guide them into this can represent this for that or that? Or would you tell them, go to someone else who just kind of does art and we're not the guys for you? How would you advise someone who never got a tattoo before and has no idea about culture like that?
We would guide them.
Yeah.
Also, we would also guide them and also turn them away, because we don't just do tattoos for people who like it or because it's cool.
Yeah.
I've never tattooed a guy that says it's cool.
I had a client like that about 3 months ago. He was from Bosnia, and he came in with like a picture of a tattoo, and he was like, "I want it just like this." And I said, "Well, I didn't do that tattoo." And it's disrespectful to grab someone else's tattoo and do it, obviously, right? And then I sat him down and I was like, why do you want this tattoo? He's like, I think it looks cool. And I go, but do you know that this tattoo means meaning? There's meaning to it. This could be meaningful to this person, you know? Mm-hmm. And he was very like, like, I don't care. Like, this is what I want. And so I told him, I said, how about this? How about you just sit on this and then, we'll talk to me later about this. And I said, you got to understand that this is sacred. Mm-hmm. This ain't just like a bunch of lines and triangles. And so I never tattooed him, and I didn't even, I tried to guide him in the way I could, but I ended up not tattooing him.
Good to know. And what about anyone ever quitting halfway through? Like, you know what? I don't want to do it anymore.
All the time.
And do they don't come back to get it?
Oh no, they come back.
They come back. They gotta come back because it's gonna be it's not done.
But what I like about those unfinished tattoos is the story evolves.
Yeah.
It changes from the way you feel or the way you interpret that story. Now you can go another way with it, and that's what I like about the style of tattooing.
So you learned it inside?
No.
You started doing it inside?
No, I learned it from sitting with elders and
when you had gotten out already.
Yeah.
So were you tattooing while you were locked up?
I did cups.
What's a cup?
A Tupperware cup.
Tumblers.
So the tumblers. So I would do that. There's a funny thing. There's a funny story. It's not a funny story. It's when I was locked up, I did a lot of soul searching because I was making I was making penitentiary choices or taking penitentiary chances that could have locked me up for the duration. You know what I mean? I'm a 2-striker, so I walk a very thin line. And for me to get caught up in the stupid stuff that I was doing, I chose to seek a path. So in my seeking path, I've been to Buddhist service, Jewish service, any kind of service except for satanic ones, because they have that too.
No way.
Yeah.
They have satanic services in jail?
Because of freedom of religion. And so you can practice whatever you want. I even did the sweat lodge thing, So I had like all kinds of experiences that I could experience. I did
soul searching,
and my bunkie at the time was Christian, and I chose a very hard route. I became Muslim for 7 years. And how it got introduced to me was so smooth. It was by a really, really dark black dude, almost blue, right?
He was blurple?
He was purple from a Filipino gang that I was banging against in LA.
Wow.
He ended up sliding up under me and showed me how to hustle. So I never knew how to hustle until I met him, because I was a smoker. You know what I mean? The only hustling I did was sell the sack to smoke a sack. You know what I'm saying? But when I met him, he goes, let's monopolize this yard doing what you do. So my art background was in drawing, but it was drawing because I had to. You know what I mean? So what I did was I did cards, and how we monopolized it is we ended up working at a graphic arts department where we printed the what do they call that?
Insert J card?
No, it's an institutional
handbook
pamphlet of what's going on. So we would do that. So we did typesetting, all this stuff, and then it goes, hey, how about we mass produce your cards and then we sell them as like build your card. So we had the outside, we had the inside. I glue it, and then I freak it out with the glitters and all that stuff, and I dropped the price 2 for 1. Everybody was hot, and he goes, "A lot of people gonna get mad, but I got you." So this dude come from a level 4 prison. Prison politics is a crazy thing. So this this is why I love that that Art of War that Dice did, because that was one of the hottest commodities you could read while inside, besides the Bible and the Quran. It was a guidebook on how to the strategies of war, the way you walk around the yard, the way you step on the yard and look at everything like, yo, looks like the Mexicans gonna set it off. Looks like the blacks are gonna set it off. And you just feel the temperature, you know, like, oh shoot, man, I'm stepping into something. I'm gonna post up right here. So he goes, "We're gonna monopolize this yard with your cards." Bro, it took me 9 months. 9 months to monopolize it. And then no. It took 90 days to monopolize the yard. And after
What do you mean by monopolizing it with a card?
that I was the guy to get the cards from.
And these were what kind of cards?
The ones you send your
Greeting cards.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
So I'll monopolize the yard. When it came to greeting cards, I was the man, because whatever it was, if you wanted something for Kwanzaa, Cinco de Mayo, whatever it was, I got you.
I know what you're talking about, because I have people that have been incarcerated in my life, and
Yeah.
I've gotten cards and stuff like that, and pot holders made out of cigarette wrappers.
Oh, I
and
got all that.
all this kind of stuff.
So what we would do is make so many that I was supplying the other yards. So there's 4 yards in a prison setting. I would send some to the brothers over there to sell, send some to these brothers, and send some to these, but on each yard, and they would send me money.
Dope.
And in turn, I would send money to my mom.
Dope. Very dope. So from all the stories that I heard, there's so much drugs in jail. And how are you able to find yourself, get to your sobriety as at that time where there not as many drugs in jail? From what I understand now, there's drugs throughout jail like crazy.
Oh yeah, there is. It's you have to make a choice. It has to be a conscious decision that you're sick and tired of being tired. And I say, you know what? I don't want this for my life. I want to stop. And I don't want to like squander the rest of what I do have left. And so that's when I kicked all my little drug addictions and drinking and stuff. Because being that we had people who worked in certain jobs, my people was making moonshine. You know what I mean? And so everything that we had was like either, hey, you want to trade? So there's, the barter system, that's a big thing. And I was like, man, after being part of it, I was like, I finally made that stance and said, I don't want this no more. And then ultimately I ended up becoming Muslim for that 7 years.
And did you see his changes? Did you see his evolution and his slip ups? Did you witness it, or where did you come in to all this?
And how did your family respond? Like,
I was actually there when he, Mama was on the phone, right?
Yeah.
And then he had told him like his name is Basil Muhammad.
get down.
Yeah. And then, I just remember like Mikey was like, what? And then like Mama started crying. Cause remember I came while he was still inside. And so, yeah, going back to what you're saying, have I seen the change? I've pretty much been walking with him for 25 years. So I've seen him from that point to now and where God has taken him now. And so, yeah, there's lots of changes.
And what about being upset that he's changing or selling out? Or did you embrace his change? Or were you guys kind of like, yo, why are you doing all this kind of
so
stuff?
That was your name for 7 years?
Yeah, it was Basil Abdullah.
Yeah.
So Basil means in Arabic, it means brave, because come on, man. It took for a Filipino guy, right, to be in a black car, because all Muslim pretty much was black.
Mm-hmm.
And then to top it off, throughout those years, I ended up becoming the Amir, which was the leader over them. So now I wasn't just the guy who called the prayer, the security guy, the treasurer, whatever. I was the top guy on the yard. So for the Muslims on that yard, I was calling the shots.
That's a dope story.
Filipino dude.
And the worst thing about this was I was a Filipino dude, and when you're a Muslim, you have access to the chapel. We held a lot of the weapons on the yard for a lot of different people.
Yeah, that's a great story. Let's go ahead and.
So, what do you mean? You guys would
We would hide the bone crushers and the shanks and whatever you have in the chapel, because we trying to follow the path, but when
you were still in prison,
we
you
were
had to
still
play
in prison.
by the rules.
We played by the rules.
And I believe it's an eye for an eye, correct?
Oh yeah.
And whereas Christianity is like turn the other cheek.
Right.
Yeah,
And,
right.
it's an eye for an eye with Muhammad.
We taking heads.
So, go ahead.
The messed up part is a lot of the Christian pastors and stuff that were going inside visiting, and I see them on the streets. Now I'm like, hey, what's up? How you doing, brother? Like, you look familiar. Because, yeah, man, I used to pick fights with you in jail. You know what I'm saying? You're that guy. Yeah. And they're all like, oh, man, bless you, man. You finally come to Christ,
So how did that happen? So you did what, 12 years, 11, 12 years?
I did 10.
10.
I had 13 years with 8 months and 2 strikes. I get out in 10 years.
Okay, so you did 10.
Yeah.
So for 7 of those 10, you were Muslim.
I was Muslim.
And then what happened?
He had a bacon sandwich.
Somebody gave him some pepperoni pizza.
Right. So
right?
this is the fun. This is
Chicharrones.
the best. Hey, man.
Taco.
Hey,
the Mexicans got him like
the spreads didn't taste as good without the chicharron, bro, or the TJ Mama, bro. It's kind of like what made it. But the thing was the transition from me getting out is my brother-in-law plays a big part in that, because he was a Christian guy that ended up being my bunkie, that they said, we made a promise to not to preach or try to convert each other. Because that was the thing on the yard is when new homies came to the yard, they didn't want them talking to me, period. Because I had homies converting, and they're like, do not talk to him. And they told my own blood brother, Big D, not to talk to me.
Yeah.
So my brother turned his back on the car, because I can't turn my back on my brother. So he took that stand, and then later on in another pen, he became Muslim too.
That's interesting.
I kind of want to interject on this story, because there's more to it than that, like how things are intertwined. So this whole time this is happening, my wife, is best friends with his wife, who he has never met before.
Wow.
All during this time, his wife's brother is his bunkie.
Wow.
Tell me about that. I didn't even marry my wife yet, but my wife was best friends with his wife. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's like a crazy circle.
It sounds like the wife that you have
Yes.
was related to his bunkie, and they were already related before you met her.
No, his bunkies was related to his wife.
To his wife.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And that's...
Yeah, I married my bunkie's sister.
Yeah.
But his sister is best friends with his wife.
And this is before I came. Can you believe that?
That's crazy.
So at what time did he bring up his bunkie and you said, oh, I'm dating his sister? That never came up?
No.
That's crazy.
It was
So who was your bunkie?
How about this?
Joey.
Joey, yeah.
Shout out to Joey.
Hey,
Joey
Joey,
also...
Joey, brow kid.
So Joey also works with you still.
Yeah.
He's still here. He's part of Goodlife.
Yeah.
And he does
The permanent makeup.
eyebrows, and he does some tattoos now too, doesn't he?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
crazy.
that's true, right? And then check this out. He grew up with my wife. And
My
and
homie used
was-
to date his wife. One of
Yeah.
my homies.
can you believe that?
That's crazy.
That's a trip.
And then you guys are sitting here right now in front of us.
Oh yeah.
So how did you convert back to Christianity? Like, how did that go down? Because I know you're a strong
So-
Christian man.
So my back to the Muslim part is my family kind of turned their back on me. They weren't accepting my calls. They weren't sending me no more packages. And this is probably because, hey, you turned on us, we turned on you. But
They
my-
weren't sending them to Kuya, and they didn't want to send them to what was his name?
Basil.
Yeah, they
Basil.
didn't want to.
My mom's soft heart, you know what I mean? She kept the communications open, you know? And the only visits I'd get from my dad were on Christmas. He'd come my birthday. He'd come to see me on my birthday and stuff. But it was a hard road. You know, it was lonely because I found out what real homie love is. There's an expiration date on homie love.
Mm-hmm.
It only lasts for like 6 months. If it goes longer than that, then that's because he was your real homie. But even the real ones fall off. You know, they start coming back when you're getting out because they want to kind of like, yo, man, I'm still here. Like, fool, you weren't there when I was going through it though.
Yeah.
You know, and by the story I'm telling you, I was going through it a lot. So that's how I had to learn how to hustle. And that's why one of the things about Good Life is we create opportunities for those who would not have the opportunity to begin with.
Right. I think Kuya did that for me in that sense. Because if it wasn't for Kuya, then I probably wouldn't be here tattooing. And you know, he pretty much showed me how to kind of take a leap of faith, because I feel like my success is because of what Kuya has done for me.
Mm-hmm.
And were you tattooing when he was locked up, or did you start tattooing later?
Oh,
Bro.
this is even a trippy story right here.
Bro, I was supposed to be a dentist, bro. Yeah, so I did like 9 years in the Navy, and then I got out, and I was like, yo, I might as well be a dentist because I was already doing like implant work.
Yeah.
And so this guy, oh no, not yet. Like, I was in Texas, and so I started going to school, and then I finished up, and then I was ready to take the DAT exam, which is like the MCAT for like dental school. And I remember calling this guy up, like, yo, man, I don't want to work on teeth anymore. And he was like, long story short, I mean, as simple as he just said, I'm going to teach you how to tattoo. And I was like, what? I was like,
It wasn't like that though. It was so this is the dude who had everything he wanted, really. He had drift cars, low ride, whatever it was, he had it. So I didn't know what to give this dude, right? Besides tattoos. So one day I decided to give him one of my hitters. You know, I left it with him in a machine, right? I left the machine in a power supply, said put a pen to it, pencil, and just mess around. And then he goes, you know what? I'm kind of getting tired of this. And he starts shooting me like pictures while he's at work of drawings. Like, hey, look what I worked on. Like, this fool right here. I'm like, it's like what an apprentice should do. They should be showing you pictures every day of what they're doing. And that's what he was doing. So it was a crazy type of thing where he was apprenticing through the phone. And then I got him apprenticeship
FaceTime.
at a shop.
Yeah.
To go do work out there, which he never did really go to.
I didn't feel comfortable. I was like, man, I'm about to go into this place. And
Where was it?
He was like, this was San Antonio, Texas.
Oh,
And this
okay.
was like a traditional shop, you know?
Like traditional, like American.
traditional.
Oh, Americana. It's like
I mean, the dude was really welcoming, but I was like, you know,
and were you doing like Polynesian type stuff?
I was drawing at the time. Yeah.
So let me go backwards a little bit. So then how did you get out of, when did you stop being a Muslim? And how did that transition happen? So you were saying it was your family and your mom, but how
This is what had happened. We're having those what's gonna happen when you die kind of conversations with my wife. Late nights felt like high school. It was like, you hang up. No, you hang up. No, you hang up. The only thing that would get me to hang up is my prayers.
Yeah.
So it was that dawn time prayer, you know, they call it the Fajr prayer. And she goes, isn't it time for you to pray? And I'm like, we were having a conversation about judgment and where you were going to go after you died. And that's where I couldn't answer, you know. And when she answered me, there was a surety behind her voice that was like, I wanted that for myself, you know, the message of salvation and going to heaven and Jesus died on the cross for you. We didn't have that through Islam, you know. Yours, it was based on your works and your good deeds versus your bad. And just because I was walking that spiritual path, my thoughts were evil, you know, like I kill in my thoughts, you know, like, man, screw that dude right there, man. He's good as God. Yeah. I had those thoughts and it's just one of those things. And like, when I see it come up, like, ooh, snap, I could take this right now. Or that car is running. I'm like, oh no, stop thinking that way. So if I was to add up just my thoughts versus the good things that I do, my weight and balance of good and bad is always outweighed by the bad. And when she says, well, through Christ, I'm wiped clean of my sins, right? Is as far as the east is from the west, and that the sins were forgiven past, present, and future by the sacrifice or propitiation of the Lamb. And I was like, man, how do I get that? And this is all before the prayer. And I'm like, man, I want Jesus, you know, because I know in myself, I could not do the good that I need to save myself.
It was that one conversation with your wife.
Yeah. Well,
was she your wife then?
No.
She was your girlfriend then.
She wasn't even my girlfriend.
She was Joey's sister.
She was so
right?
she was Joey's sister and then my wife.
Yeah.
It wasn't, we didn't date. There was none of that. Yeah. Like, she's still tripping on, like, I haven't proposed to her. I just told her, I'm just going to marry you. You know, yeah.
That's the G in him.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Just grab her by the hair. Let's go.
Yeah.
Dope. Great story.
So that was it. It was one conversation and she changed your world. Like, she just.
It was that conversation. And
did you change your name right away? Hey, don't call me that no more. You went in back to the cell. That's not my name anymore.
Yeah. I still got guys that call me that, you know, from back then, because it's just one of those things you can't erase. Yeah. You know, like, hey, Basil, like, I still answer to it. Like, what's up? Because the name doesn't make you Muslim. You know what I mean? It's your act of worship that makes you Muslim.
You know what? I don't even know your real name.
What?
I don't. What's your real name?
Well, back in the day, it started with MF. Ron Galito. they never said, you know, Ron Galito. He goes, you always, you know, that Mickey Ficky Ron Galito. It was always, I was an enemy of the state. I had no real friends, you know? Yeah. That's how bad it was. And that's why I try to live a life that's pleasing to God these days, so that guy, he can't be erased, but people don't see him. You know?
So, do you think through Christ you're able to forgive yourself? And how long did it?
You know what? I've forgiven myself. There's times where I feel bad for the things that I've done, but you know what? You can't write those things. Those are written in history. But it's how you move forward. You know? Did
you struggle with the things that you did, or was it hard for you to get over the hump, or did you stay in that place for a minute, or did you just say, you know what?
Nah.
Tell me about it.
When I was told I was forgiven, I moved on. You know, and still it's really difficult because people use that as bondage and crutches to keep on doing what they do.
Stay where they're at.
But like, if when I go to NA meetings, and it's been a while, I tell them that I've been delivered. I don't say I'm a recovering. I'm healed. I'm healed, and they don't understand that. But because they give power to these things. And I refuse. And so you remember that one time, it was the Christmas party and everybody was drinking and you had your little,
fake beer.
Yeah.
And my non-alcoholic beer.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
And my chicken wings. My chicken wings were on point.
Oh, the wings were bomb. The wings were bomb.
But I don't have the cravings, and I could be around that stuff and it doesn't stumble me. You know, what what other people
Chicken wings did though.
Real.
Yeah, that I don't know. That got me how many times
Yeah.
with the shit. What did we have those tostadas?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Man, I think I had way too many that night.
That's what we do here. We
It's
eat.
worth it though.
Yeah.
That's really dope. That's a really great story, man. It's really inspiring.
So then that was 7, right? It was like 7 from the whatever. So you got out.
Yeah.
And then how did you jump into, did you work a regular job or you just became a tattooer?
I worked 3 jobs. I
What
was
was you doing?
Jamaican.
3 jobs, man. Easy lima bean.
Yeah, I'm on. Hey, I was a drug counselor.
I thought he was going to say dealer.
Look, up the street.
That was before.
Catty Corny from Albertsons. I was a drug counselor with no credentials. I was a night watchman at the same facility, and I was a prep cook, and then turned to employee chef for the Bahia Resort.
Dope.
And so, what had happened there is my tattooing was on the side. So my tattooing was like 1 tattoo a week to 1 tattoo a day. To now I tattoo every day for if permitted, you know. But of course with children, I'm trying to be like B and do 1 tattoo a day and surf and jujitsu.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, he is my example to find balance in my life. Otherwise I would just work. You
So
know
then
what I mean?
how's that working out?
It's working out.
Yeah. So
Because you
you're
know what?
tattooing and you're taking time for yourself.
Yeah. Because you know what? You can't be a slave to the needle. When I first started
He
off,
means the tattoo needle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not that.
promote this guy.
Because some people are slaves to the other needle.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I mean?
The record needle.
Right.
The record needle.
Yeah.
That too. So so then what? So you worked 3 jobs, and then at what point did you
when
get
I
out-
when
you
I
got
got
married?
injured, no, well, I was married. I got married.
So you got married right when you got out?
6 months after.
That's pretty much right after. Pretty
Yeah,
close. Right?
that's because the 6 months was just planning. The whole thing was planning. So the stipulations was get a job, so you can take care of your family. And I had to prove to my father-in-law that I wasn't Muslim anymore. So he had my mother-in-law cook like 6 different pork dishes. Adobo being one,
That's how you do it.
That's how you
sinigang,
do
and
it.
then it was
That's how you
like,
do
All
it.
Filipino ones?
Right.
yeah,
Yeah.
they put it in front of me,
Yeah.
and it was kind of like,
Lechon?
eat it, you know, and you know that song, A Whole New World.
Yeah.
It just started singing in the background. I
Yeah.
started eating all this food, and it was the proof. The proof was in the pudding, kind of
Yeah,
thing,
yeah.
you know.
And then he was cool.
And it was cool.
That's really
It was
great.
cool.
That's great.
So that's how you, out of all ways.
yeah. Well, I said it.
No,
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 you
yeah.
had some bacon.
Yeah, right.
You had a bacon
Yeah.
sandwich.
You had it right.
Yeah, you kind of
Yeah.
You
did.
had it right.
And then,
And then it was on and cracking. You know, he gave me the blessing to marry his daughter.
okay, so now you're married. You got 3 jobs. So tattooing. So you were tattooing once a week. And then how did Good Life start after that? Like, how did you transition from getting out of prison to
Well,
owning a tattoo shop?
how that happened was I got injured on a job with the cutting vegetables and meats and whatever, and so I ended up getting carpal tunnel surgery. And I said, you know what, this is not cutting it. You know, to making like 800 every 2 weeks after taxes. You know what I mean? I make that like in 1 tattoo now, and that's for 1 day.
Mhm.
So it was me showing my trust in God that He would see me through and help provide that way. Because at one point in my life is when I became Christian, I didn't automatically be the leader of the family. My wife led for a lot of those times. It was until I stepped up, you know. Because one thing is the man has to lead, and I didn't know when it was time or whatever, but God knew, and He knew when it was time for me to stop doing what I was doing, killing myself, just trying to make ends meet, and ended up in a shop, which kind of showed me. It opened my eyes to the industry, and how they don't want you to talk to certain people. And
Here in San Diego?
Yeah. Well, we ain't gonna mention no names. It was a launching pad, and it helped me to be the person or the boss that I am. I do the total opposite of what that guy was doing to his workers and what he was doing to me. You know, it was like slavery to me. But that's why with the people that has come under me and B, they now have their own shops. We help to nurture people to bring them to that level so that they can thrive.
It's great.
But when this is how we ended up opening up shop is I left that location, tattooed at home for a little bit, trying to look for apprenticeships in other shops that wouldn't take me because they said, man, people know you more than they know my shop. Or your following on MySpace is like more fun.
He said MySpace.
Yeah, than my shop. Yeah.
You're top 8 or my.
Yeah. So
What up, Tom? Shouts out to Tom.
Yeah.
yeah. So from there, it just like the visits to CB in Texas, and just spending time with him. Said, man, if I ever did open a shop, man, would you come out? You know, and this is he's him barely getting his feet wet, but I saw his potential already. Like we could do this.
I think the hard part there was convincing my wife.
Yeah, he said he got to ask and
because we had it set over there, we had a pad, everything was done.
Mm-hmm.
Like I could have just became a dentist and retired out there. And this guy comes in and says, "Oh, I'm gonna teach you how to tattoo." I'm like, "Okay."
What was her first response when you said that?
You better hope this is from God.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I said, nah. I mean, long story short, like we waited out, almost a year?
Yeah.
Yeah, before I picked up and left. So I sold everything. Pretty much drained I sold everything to come back to San Diego after 13 years.
Yeah, what a lot of people don't know is that he stayed with me for 3 years.
Yeah.
And all they see is
not just him, it's him and his family.
Him and his family.
So there's like 12, not 12 of us, like maybe 10 of us in there.
Yeah.
In a 5-bedroom home. No one saw that.
That's dope.
All they saw was B had like 3 low riders, 3 motorcycles.
What'd you have?
He'd never seen my toys. I sold my.
He gets rid of them real quick. He finishes.
Relax.
Yeah.
He always tells me like, you say like, man, you don't hold on to things. You just get rid of them. That's kind of what I do. I just buy things, fix them, and sell them. But yeah, like I had a 66 hardtop Impala. I sold that, and just so that I could come back here and get started. But I had a Vikla. I had a Road King with.
All you guys ride, huh?
Yeah.
You still have bikes, right, Kuya?
He still did. I sold everything.
But I did it because he had it, and so we would do it together.
And he sells his, huh?
And he sells it, and I'm stuck. But then I fall in love with it,
Yeah, you still ride once in a while,
Yeah.
right?
I ride waves.
Yeah. He fell in love with the ocean.
Yeah. But yeah, like, so I come back after 13 years and we open up our first shop. And think about this, like, I have no experience in tattooing. And this guy hits me up and he's like, yo, we're going to start a tattoo shop. So like I was living in this kind of like fear of people of what they would think of a guy trying to open up a shop with absolutely no experience in tattooing, And so like I had a lot of insecurities apprenticing under him because he would already put me like on boss level. And I'm like, yo, I'm not boss level. I'm just drawing and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And so like he helped me out and my confidence level eventually caught up to that. And so we opened up our first shop in Lemon Grove off of Broadway. And I mean, before that, like just to touch on like how Goodlife came, he had a name before the shop. What was that name?
Oh, Salvation Design Inc.
And then wasn't there another one?
No, then it became Goodlife. We're like going back and forth, and then goes, why don't we just call it Goodlife? Because his name Sarapbuhay means good life.
Yeah, that's my IG handle. So it's Sarapbuhay 97 because we came up with that name in 1997 because of his mom.
Mhm.
And so like his mom would catch all of us outside of the pad ditching school, and she was like, man, all you guys know is Sarapbuhay, you know? And so that when I heard that, I was like, yo, that's tight. Like Sarapbuhay.
She's right.
She's right. And so I've had that name since 1997.
So what's crazy about him having that name is he probably threw the biggest car event in Texas from people all around Texas coming to the Good Life car meet. And so
throwing car shows or
that's
not car meets.
Yeah,
you know?
so it's like, hey man, that would be dope if you took that and applied it to tattooing.
Yeah. And see, so that's what helped my client or our clientele, is because they already knew, oh, that this guy Sarapbuhay, they knew me on the internet because I was like blogging for certain websites and because of cars. And so they saw the transition from that car, kicks, music guy turning into a tattooer.
You're official.
Yeah.
You're official.
Yeah.
So it was believable that the next thing you're going to do is going to pop off because of your track record.
Right. And I didn't even know. He's the one that brought that up.
It's
like he
like,
saw it.
Yeah.
I didn't.
I was like capitalized on the notoriety. He knew cats that we ended up visiting, tattooing at their houses, staying with them. And I'm like, dang, you know the fool who owns, he knew the people who own things, you know, and my thing is I catch on quick, you know, and I said, oh, you know the owner of that? I'm like, you know the owner of this? You know the guy who's said this? That's tight.
And to me, they were just, no, those are just my friends.
So do you think you use the leverage of him knowing people from, you got that from like the jail hustle, or you had that before you think coming out of jail?
I think because of the jail hustle that I see it right away.
Right.
Okay.
And
Right.
it's
Keep the game.
you
Right.
keep game and you capitalize on the opportunity, whether it's for you or not, at least you shot your shot, you know? And so a lot of people, I think they don't shoot their shot. They just miss the mark altogether because of confidence. And that's what I try to instill in people was like, yo, man, you could do so much more if you came in that door a whole nother way. Step in with your right foot and own the place.
Right.
Not like, oh, like, hey guys, how are you guys doing? I'll say, like, what's happening, man? Oh yeah, what's up with it?
I'm gonna tell you a story. One
That's
time,
Kuya right there.
Kuya sent me to Hawaii to meet like the chiefs, and I'm like, "You're not gonna come with me?" He's like, "Nah, I want you to go over there." And I'm like, well, I mean, what can I say? Like, it's Kuya. It's like my big brother, you know? He's like, I want you to go over there and I want you to be confident. I want you to bring some gifts. And that's what I did. And through things like that, like I've learned how to hustle on my own, you know, and I'm grateful for all of my clients, but I want to say that a lot of the hustle that I learned was from him. 'Cause like my wife, she didn't work for like 12 years. And that's from the time that we got here or before Texas. And then we got here and this guy's like, nah, your wife's not going to work. And I'm like, how am I going to feed her? I don't even have I don't even have clients. He's like, nah, we going to do this. And then he's like, yo, put your kids in private school. I'm like, how am I going to pay for this? He's like, nah, God's going to provide for that. And here we are. You know,
And in 3 years, he bought his house.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah,
But it was, I think, you know, one of my biggest thing is community over competition. And there's more than enough to go around, right?
Everyone
So,
eats.
so a lot, I would double book myself and then I would give him my client that I've been tattooing,
Yeah.
I would give it to him.
create an opportunity.
Yeah.
Create the
Because
opportunity.
you believed in him.
Right.
I believed in it 100.
Do you think he saw something in you that you didn't see in yourself?
Yeah. Yeah. I didn't see any of this.
Yeah.
Who you're talking to right now is not me. It's like he brought that out of me, you know, as far as like hustle and style and all that. Like to me, I was just like, I'm just going to be a dentist, you know? I mean, I had style like in the cars and stuff, but like he saw something in me that I didn't have, that
That's
I didn't
great.
see in myself.
That's great.
Do you think a dentist likes his job?
Heck no.
getting
He likes
paid.
he likes the money
You know what?
behind it.
So I've been in that business for like 10 years, right? These dudes don't like that job, man.
That's what I've heard. I've heard dentists are some of the most miserable.
They just want money, and you know, it's the highest suicide rate.
That's what I heard.
Wow.
I was gonna say that.
Yeah. You know why? Because you go to school, you pay like over $100,000 just in the school.
Or
'Cause-
more,
so this
yeah.
is what I was looking at. And then in order to open up a practice, you need like $500,000. So going into a business, right? 600K in debt. How does that make you feel? You know? And then you're like staring.
Then
at
you have to buy insurance and you have
All
to buy
that.
equipment and
all that.
it's crazy, dude.
Yeah.
And then you got to develop clientele.
Right.
It's no, I've seen that too. It's
I
like
think
I
the
cannot imagine imagine some of the stuff a dentist has to see, like people with bad hygiene,
Oh,
people
yeah.
like
All
just
day.
messed up teeth, and then you have to. I don't think, but that's good. Tattooing's way funner, huh?
Well,
It's
I think
funner.
that if it wasn't for, because I used the handpiece all day,
Yeah.
and I think that's where it transitioned. That's another thing he saw. He was like, "Yo, you already know how to hold a handpiece.
Yeah.
It's no different than holding a
So
tattoo.
you're probably the most qualified to do a mouth tattoo.
I probably can.
Pull,
I know where to hold.
yeah,
So like I think what sets us apart, you know, because that's one of our selling points is that we don't claim to be a Christian tattoo shop, but we are Christians. You know what I mean? And we pray for every tattoo. We don't pray for money. We pray for God's provision. You know, that God gives us what we need. And I think that's what we stand on. And that's why we keep working. I mean, through COVID, through everything that we've gone through and everybody's been going through, we haven't suffered. And I'm not saying that like, because we're holier than thou, because no, it's just our trust and faith that God's going to see us through. And we just keep on spreading that word. We keep on spreading that vibe, you know.
Right.
And what a trippy part about it is ending up here, you know, because it wasn't like I sought out to be somewhere or go somewhere and do something. I was just going on God's, you know, on God's cue. I mean, I ended up going to Philippines with Bobby even before we even broke bread. You know, I wanted to go represent SD. So I ended up coming over here to go buy some gear, you know. I'm like, yo, this is like a tribal, get down. I want to be tribal up with something that they don't have.
yeah.
So I come over here, I'm going to spend some money, man. Bobby goes, take it. I'll see you there. So I was boothed up with some people. It's a trip that Goodlife started off with 2 people, but we have different international travel team. We have Goodlife affiliate shops in different locations. So wherever we go, we have a place to stay, a place to sleep, a place to work, and a car to drive. And it's just crazy how I ended up going to the Philippines and then, you know, really kicking it with Bobby, and we're just looking at cars and stuff. I'm tattooing this really cramped booth. He goes, nah, you coming over here. So he sets me up. I got my own little spot right there.
In the tribal booth?
Yeah.
Dope. So you go over there, you come to get some gear, you go over there, got your little spot set up. Bobby's over there. He sees you and he invites you over to his area.
Yeah.
That's
and
dope.
VIP, all this.
That's
with,
What a nice guy.
That's dope.
and I'm like,
Bobby's a nice guy.
but we ain't even broke bread like over here. And after that, that's when, hey, you want to go out for sushi or you want to go do this? And
Yeah. I mean,
yeah.
that's right.
So-
Because he's like that's the thing we haven't touched on about Kuya. Kuya's like a foodie.
Oh, he is.
He is a foodie. Like he knows some spots. He definitely knows some spots, and he'll try some new ones too. And he'll have all of us try.
Bobby,
But Kuya is going back to his sense of community. Like he's always down to help somebody. Like he's always down. Hey, you got to try my boy spot. You got to try my boy spot. And we have, and some of them are amazing. But
some of them aren't.
Trying to look out for your boy.
a couple times, but that's what he's doing. That's all he's doing.
Right.
Is he's trying to look out for his people and connect people to people. And I understand. I see that. Like that's what we do. But it's definitely been like a good experience following his foodie advice too. But Art did bring those. You had to bring those wings up, dog.
Yeah, man.
What
I
did
got-
was,
I gotta-
was
I gotta
that the spot
taste
in
it.
National City?
That
The
is
one
the
that
spot
where
in-
everybody goes?
It's
Which
not
one?
that spot. It's not Royal Mandarin.
No.
It's another spot. It's
Golden
called-
chopsticks.
It is a place called Tasty China,
Oh,
right next to the Ish clothing store.
yes.
Yeah.
I know. I know
You know
where
the spot?
that's at.
It's
Yeah,
just Tasty
yeah.
China.
You know that
I gotta
spot,
go there
Kuya?
now.
Yeah,
Yeah. About Worthington.
yeah.
And then Duty brought some wings at one time. Was
Wait,
that
are these
wings?
salt and pepper chicken wings?
Yeah, salt and pepper
Okay.
chicken wings. Yeah, at the White Elephant.
I think
holiday.
I think
party.
we're due for another potluck.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got to do that again because I on the 28th, I believe we've got the Mariscos truck will be here. El Catrin.
Oh, that's one of my
The
favorite
food trucks.
right there.
Food trucks are starting to come back. Like, I think we're doing Rice or Death on the Sunday. That's right before that too.
I tell you what, Bobby, this is a lot of fun. Be Kuya, inspiring. You know what I mean? I don't mean to cut out on you guys,
No,
but
no.
I gotta go. It was a pleasure being here with you. I gotta get my little outro before I
Yep,
take
yep,
off. I don't
yep.
want to just be out on camera, but I gotta run.
No, because messing around with us, man, you can get more than one episode.
I can't wait to
just
do it again.
natural. But
can't
yeah,
wait to do
Yeah,
it again.
this is awesome.
Yeah.
Dope.
I appreciate it.
So all right, Art.
All right, Art.
Thank you so much. Thank you, brothers.
All right, brother.
Thank you so
Thank you.
much. Thank you
I know
so
how to push the
Yeah.
buttons and all that. So.
We'll have to
I got it.
talk
Art
about
helps with
some
the
of the my neighbor and some of my friends they're like younger homies. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah?
That I didn't even know. Like we're so connected with the guy who does my car, like does the auto body on my car. He's like his OG, and I had no idea.
the guy that used to live across from you shot his first gun through me. You know, like stupid.
This is crazy.
Isn't that beautiful?
You know what I mean? It's like,
But he ain't killed nobody. We ain't killed nobody. He ain't killed nobody.
Right, one love.
All
All
right.
right. So just we'll wrap it up pretty soon too. But
I can come back.
what's in your what are you working on? What's in the future? Where do you want to see yourself and Good Life in say 5 years?
You know what? It just continued to be good life, bro.
You know what? With Kuya and I think our goal is to create space and opportunity for upcoming artists to give them a chance that nobody else would give them a chance. I think that's our calling because we know how it is. We know how, we went through those struggles. And so like, we want to give people an opportunity to express and exercise their talents.
You know what's funny is I seen this thing. If you hang around someone that's lame, you're gonna walk with a limp, right?
I don't know.
It's a real. It goes, you walk around with somebody that's lame, you're gonna walk with a limp. And if you walk with people who have that stride and confidence to create and do bigger and better things, you're gonna elevate. And so that mindset, right, is by being in I guess in close proximity to people like yourself. I've learned how to make certain moves and do certain things, and I'm not the type to actually make announcements and do things like that, but I've been around to where I say, man, Bobby's making a move. I know it. And so what I'm doing is I've gleaned through being around you to making things happen. Like you're like, where you at now? Right. So we got this thing at the Imperial Ave Collab, which we are creating opportunities for other people. And so they won't get that opportunity nowhere else because I've seen how you do it. And it's like a blueprint of how you've created in your own thing, in your own world, opportunities for people who've been in messed up situations, let's call it, to put them in a place where they can thrive and then become something like come out of a cocoon, because
They're Thrive mentored, even go as far as checked,
Right.
just giving people, let them know that, yeah, it's going to take the work. It's going to take the personality, the attitude, the work ethic,
Right.
and the mannerism. Like it's kind of like what you were saying earlier. Like you learn how to walk into a room. You learn how to conduct yourself. It's more than just whatever your craft is. It's everything that goes along with it. Like even great tattooers need to learn how to manage themselves. They need to learn how to communicate with people.
Right.
They need to learn how to schedule things. They need to learn how to handle their money. They need to learn, and it's more than just the craft. You know what I mean? There's so many other elements to it, like you've learned. And a lot of tattooers, a lot of artists, or even musicians, they learn the hard way.
Yeah.
And they believe that, oh, this money's going to last forever. I'm making good money right now, but are you going to be making that kind of money in 2 years, in 3 years, in 1 year, 5 years, in 10 years? Well, what about how's your back doing? How's your
Right.
how's your hand?
Right.
How's your relationship, at home? How's the shop? Like how's all these other elements but I hear what you're saying, man. It's important to do that, to provide an opportunity and but at the same time you have to vet people.
Yeah.
You have to know who's who in the building.
Oh yeah.
Like
definitely.
even in here, who are you handing a key to?
Right.
And here, we have a good time with it. We're like, oh, somebody didn't set the alarm. Everybody's like, who was it? We're going to get some donuts, or we're going to get cheeseburgers out of Cadillac.
Shout out to Cadillac.
Shout out
So
Cadillac. Or we're going to get whatever it is. It becomes almost a fun game where people aren't afraid to rat each other out, because then it's donuts for everybody, or it's, tacos for everybody, or pizza for everybody, or, we make it a fun environment. But that it's important, dude, to do that, because yeah, you're right, dude. And some of us are still in a position, not me as much anymore, but growing up, it's like, we're still those dudes or those people that walk into a business, walk into a room, and maybe it's our appearance or our history or our vocabulary that people are going to go like, huh? Like what? Like you don't belong. So where you got to find that spot where you belong and you're comfortable and you can kind of grow and establish yourself, or like you're saying, you incubate, and you're able to move out of there and beyond and into something else, which is cool too.
Yes, sir.
Did I interrupt something?
Nope.
No, we're just gleaning on you right now.
You know what I mean? I think that's what it is. But at the same time, it's like a lot of these individuals, like, especially with their money, dude, because there's some tattooers out there that make a lot of money.
You can see it on the wrist.
Yeah. Or you see it, you're like, well, what's your minimum? And then it's like, but what are you doing with that money? Are you investing that money? Are you claiming that money? Do you own any real estate? Do you own, how are you investing that into your future? Or how much are you paying for rent? Like, what? You're paying somebody else's, it's like you need to learn about money and financing, and, having healthcare and a lot of basic things, or having healthcare for your family, or being able to, I seen something the other day that said, being able to retire your parents is worth way more than that Lamborghini. You know what I mean? Or something like that. Like, where are your priorities? Shit like that. So it's just things that you learn. And I wasn't always that person that, knows these things, but as you grow, you learn, like, man, it's more than just, tattooing. It's, how's your relationship with everybody in the shop? Like, how's, are you doing, there's so many variables and things that become unpredictable or unforeseen, or Kuya and I going through the situation that we're going through right now.
Yeah, I heard about that.
And it sucks. It's like legal extortion. Some of the stuff that Kuya and I are going through right now. It's like, huh?
We're in the wrong business.
Yeah.
Because either way, they get paid.
Yeah. They're getting paid. If you fight them, you get paid. If you win, they get paid. If you lose, they get paid. But it's a really, messed up thing, but it's unforeseen. And it's just, that some of the people that I'm talking to are going like, it's just part of doing business in California. It's
just pay up.
Yeah. It just
suck it up and pay up.
Yeah. It sucks.
Yeah.
But, I don't know, man. It's you guys bring a style, a vibe, personality. You see me, everybody walks around, people come in and they, occasionally if you feel like there's somebody like me, like if there's somebody that comes in, sometimes I'll just say, what's up? Sometimes it's somebody and I go, you know what, I'm going to give you a little tour. And I take everybody around and I go into, the tattoo shop. I go in a Goodlife. I show them art spot. I show them just give them the tour of the building. And people are like, damn, that's dope. Yeah. They go back there and they see you guys have your energy, your vibe, and you can feel the positivity in there and just in what you guys are doing. And I think it's a great element in the building, and not just because you guys are another tattoo shop, but yeah, because you guys are Filipinos. You know what I mean? Like, I love that because that's who we are. And that's part of the beauty, I think, of this building is, on not just a cultural level, from the skateboarding to the car culture, to the music, to the graffiti, to everything that's, everything that's happening in the building. But then you got the black cats, the white dudes, the Mexicans, the Filipinos,
and melting pot.
Yeah, it is. And it's that's kind of the beauty of it all, and it comes together when we're going to do our next potluck.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like,
it's a buffet.
Yeah. Yeah. Everybody brings their shit. It's Southern California, and it's like I said, it's a privilege that for me that you guys are here and contributing and just being a part of who we are here on 17th and Island,
Appreciate that, brother.
Yeah,
no, you already know. So you're welcome. So in 5 years, what?
Shoot, 5 years? I would want to have my own warehouse.
Yeah, that's right.
Because it's one of those things. You're around people who have things, and it's like, why can't I have it? And put my own people in it or whatnot. But you're put in situations with people who show you that it can be done. Because otherwise, people wouldn't even know. They would think it was impossible. Mm-hmm. But if you think about where you came from and how you came up,
and you manifest it and you pray about it and you put in the work. Yeah. Because like Carl comes in here, Carl was my partner in Tribal for like 12 years. And I don't know, he's been out maybe 15 now, something like that. But we're still great friends. And he'd come in here and goes, man, remember when we used to dream and talk about a place like this? And we did. Right. We were like, man, what would be cool if we had a spot where we could run the brand? We had a store. We could sell graffiti supplies. We did tattoos. We had a music studio. We got like,
here you are.
And it wasn't difficult. It happened very organically just from the people around us. And, I've been friends with Carney for forever, and it just happens.
Right.
It wasn't like, but then now you find people that are out there going like, I gotta try to do like what they do. Well, let's see. Like, you might be able to do it, but you might be working with the D-listers, right. Or whatever it is. But there's, it's good. And it's nice, I guess, just to be, an inspiration and being able to do that. But yeah, man, it is what it is. So do you guys want to shout anybody out before we wrap this thing up?
Man,
there's so many. Yeah.
There's so many. I just want to shout out to everybody who has a dream. Yeah. That is to hold on to it and see it to its fruition. Keep trying, even when it gets hard. Never give up, because I was behind the wall having dreams of becoming something or somebody. And don't let the images of grandeur, like on Instagram or whatever social medias, fog your realities, because those two aren't real. Just like the smile that you see in a family portrait. How many takes did it take to take that shot? Yeah. How many tears before your kid made that smile? It's like there's all these hurdles that you have to go through, man. But if you're willing to, then you get to taste the fruit,
Yeah.
And it's not always ripe for the picking, but you have to first plant the seed.
Yeah. Make the move. What about you, B?
Just, man, shout out to you.
I appreciate that.
Because it's funny, on my way here, I was thinking,
and we went through it. Don't think that this stuff just happens and we ain't talking smack like all day, every day. Like we're throwing jabs. We're throwing jabs.
But it's funny. What was funny is because I was tattooing while you guys were texting.
Yeah.
And I was reading it and I was like, oh man, I'm gonna give Bobby a hug when I get over there. See, I think he missed me or something. But no, but what I was really thinking was like, I can't believe I'm about to be on a podcast with Bobby Ruiz, who is the guy.
Stop it.
No, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I'm coming from a guy who, you know, I grew up in the 90s and I seen the T-Star. Come on.
Yeah.
You know, and that T-Star is very influential to my generation because you were pretty much the foundation of everything street. And if you talk to kids nowadays, they're like, "What's tribal?" I'm like, "Bro, you don't even know." You know, they're stuck on like the hundreds. I props to the hundreds.
Yeah.
And props to like all these brands that came up after you.
Yeah.
But like
Someone had to break ground.
right. And so when I was driving here, I was just thinking about how blessed I was because of the people that I'm around. Kuya, you, Dice, Hassler, all those dudes, you know? And so like, I just want to thank you for allowing me to be on this show. And shout out to everyone who supports Tribal and the Good Life. We want to thank you from the bottom of our hearts.
You know what's a trip is that a lot of Filipinos don't know there's over 40 stores in the Philippines.
Right.
And that that's not counting kiosks in every major mall.
Right.
That the T-Star is known.
Right.
And then they're practically paying dollar for because it's cost so much to produce the way they have it that it can't be bootleg.
Right.
Yeah, that's
You
what
know?
they do. And sometimes I get a little frustrated with like, what? Like, and they're like, well, that's because they can't bootleg that. And I'm like, oh.
Like
okay.
embossed velvet. And then
Right.
we get it. And they were like, why don't we have this?
Yeah, I've seen some where I'm like, did
Yo,
Bobby make that?
They have to do it like that. Otherwise they will copy it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy, man. But hopefully, you know, Tututan happens this year and we can see you cats out there. Can you get out?
What you got to give me a time frame.
September time.
Something around September.
'Cause
I
I
usually have to time it because I have my wife's birthday and then Isaac's birthday. So I'm trying to, hopefully it falls somewhere between those two.
September?
Yeah, we'll see. We'll know. And you know, they're coming out for Street Legacy. And if you ain't heard about Street Legacy, you got to know Street Legacy is happening this June. It opens June 25th, California Center for the Arts, Escondido.
Oh,
Big art show, car show, food. And Kuya we all like food, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So some food, music, artistic will be there. Shout out to Johnny Be Good for always doing his part. But I'm going to close this out, man. It's been a pleasure having you guys.
thanks for having us.
Love you guys. And,
Love you too.
you know, for being a part of the family and part of what we do here at the Lower Left, The Good Life. And your IG is Kuya.
The Kuya. THAKUYA.
Yeah. And mine is Sarapbuhay. That's SARAPBUHAY 97.
That's right. The Good Life Tattoo, Tribal Click, the Lower Left, 17th and Island, San Diego, California. Shout out to the crew here and come by, say what's up. The Good Life is right. Just go right through the store, walk through the door, make a left, and that's the Good Life. So
Let's
if you
get it.
need any of styly tattoos, Polynesian tattoos, or just say what's up to the boys. But Lower Left podcast, and we're out.
Boom.
Peace.